Ready to go. Good evening, everybody. My name is Kevin Ring, president of FAMM. I'm calling. I'm starting tonight. I'm sort of discombobulated. We just had a great day today after 11 months of fighting. So I just want to give you a little background before I introduce our folks who are with us today. About 3:30 today, I received a call on my cell phone from a unknown caller, and I usually don't take those, but I felt like something might be going on because there was a rumor that there was going to be news. And I picked it up, and it was Attorney General Merrick Garland, who said he wanted me to know that they had started a process a while ago of reviewing the OLC memo from January that sent so many people, that scared so many people about going back to prison, that they had done a review process and that they had come to the conclusion that a better interpretation was that people on home confinement do not have to return en masse. This started with the BOP asking the Office of Legal Counsel if it had the discretion to bring some people from home confinement back to prison. That's all they want to know, is if they could bring some people back who had long sentences, who might need more programming. And OLC, in response to that, said, well, actually, the CARES Act requires that you bring everybody back. And as soon as that memo came down, I heard from one of our guests today who said that it was spreading like wildfire and causing a lot of fear and consternation among the families of people who had been sent home. And so we looked into it and we thought, the Justice Department should just rescind this right away, but they didn't. And so today, finally, after 11 months, the Attorney General was calling to say, basically, you win. We're going to reverse the memo. We're going to go with BOP's interpretation that it has discretion, but it's not required to bring people back. And they are going to initiate some rulemaking where the department is going to figure out what are going to be its standards for making these decisions and all the rest. But I think it's an unmitigated win. In the past several months, we've been focused on clemency because I still think clemency is the only way to keep people off of home confinement who might trip up, like some of our friends have and had to go back to prison. I don't think you should be on an ankle monitor for years and years and years. But for the folks who have been living with this cloud over their head, for many of them, this should be the end of it, because I don't think the Bureau is going to have any intention of bringing a lot of folks back. And so we live to fight another day. And I just want to say, from everybody at FAMM that's been consumed with this, I really want to thank our staff for how hard they've worked on this. Everybody's contributed in a lot of ways. And through it all, we've been motivated by being in contact with the people who were really affected by this, the ones who were worried about having to leave their families again at the end of the pandemic because the government wouldn't step up. And so we're joined by three who I talk to, some daily and some weekly. And I'm going to start with Dawn Brooks. And I want you, Dawn, you were the one who brought it to our attention from your little Danbury group and said, are you aware of this? And I said, no, there's no way they're going to do this. And then we started on this journey together. But can you just talk about, from your standpoint, I know today, I shed tears and I've been excited, yes, but can you tell us what it means for you?
Tears of joy after I got that phone call from you, as I started just reflecting and being thankful. So many families who, especially during this holiday season, have been worried about what's next for them. To be able to share that what's next is we have lived to see another day, and what their possibilities might be was certainly a blessing. It can be a better Christmas present for all of us. I thank you, Kevin. You and FAMM have been the best partner I could have ever imagined. For me not to have even known you and to call you in the blind to say, have you seen this and will you work with me? And you never missed a beat, took a sidestep. You've answered all of our calls, our questions. You've been on the forefront. You galvanized a whole lot of other organizations. I'm thankful to Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman, whose office initiated the first letter that 26 of her colleagues signed to Biden, asking for him to consider clemency. And just to be here and know that all of my sisters from Danbury and all of the broader sisters and brothers that I have gathered in this process will not have to be concerned about returning, to me is victory. And I look forward to next year, as we now look at, like you said, how we get some of these people clemency, knowing that long-term home confinement and ankle bracelets is not the answer, but thankful that we are at least here today.
Yeah, no doubt. And thank you for everything that you've done. This is my day job. You've been doing this as almost a hobby. And so I know it's a labor of love. And so thank you for all that you've done. And I want to bring in Wendy and Kendrick, both of whom, wouldn't benefit from the president's at least initial clemency campaign because it doesn't include people who have longer terms left on their sentences. But I'm hopeful this action today signals they have no intention of bringing people back. We may have some more work to do, but this should be something of a relief. Wendy, how are you feeling?
Um, I'm overwhelmed, honestly, and it's mostly because I don't think I even realized until you said that it was going to happen about how much stress had actually been thinking of it, not just for myself, because I've always had a very stoic, I got myself into this mess, this is how it's going to be attitude about it. But I was very worried for my kids. Like, I have kids that are 10 and 12 years old still, my youngest two are. And it was bad enough having to have this disaster happen to begin with, to get out and they'd have to go, oh, by the way, mommy's going to have to go back. Like, that would have been horrible to do to them again. Like, it's bad enough once. You don't want to do it to a kid like that twice. So finding out that, no, that wasn't going to be an issue, as you said, that there's things, that we still need to work on and stuff, but to know that the urgency of it was taken out of it, it was such a relief, such a relief.
Yeah, well, not only have you been speaking out, but you've been bucking me up and realizing when I was sort of getting low on this fight. And so I appreciate that. And like Dawn said, I mean, we didn't know each other. And then all of a sudden we've been, sort of comrades in this fight. And Kendrick, I want to bring you in because in a lot of ways, ever since Gwen Levi, the 76-year-old grandmother who was brought back to prison and then finally got compassionate release, you've been maybe the face of this. And you have been speaking out in the media like crazy. And one, I just want to thank you for that, because we had to put a human face on this. We couldn't just say, 4,000 criminals, who are home. And now we needed to show who these people were and why they were worthy of a second chance and all that you had accomplished. And you've done such amazing things since you've been back. So I want to thank you and just ask you what you're feeling today.
Kevin, man, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Man, I'm it hadn't really sunk in. I went to work last night at 10 o'clock, so I hadn't been asleep since yesterday. I got off work at 12 o'clock today, and I got home, so I just called the halfway house. I was asking about a job, change. I asked about something about my job, and they said, "Hey, you need to come in." I'm like, "I need to come in for what? You have to do a UA." So they didn't tell me I was doing a UA, so I go out to the halfway house. I talk to them. I come back. I'm tired. My phone starts blowing up. I'm getting all these messages. Have you seen them? You heard the news? Heard the news? I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, let me pull over. So I get home. I get in the driveway. I start reading the stories, and it really hadn't sunk in. I don't know, partly because I'm tired, or partly because I'm tired. Because 17 years, 4 months, and 15 days. A 400-month sentence. I've never gotten any relief. I've always got denied. And you kind of just live with that. The only thing I got was a 7 days good time that when Trump made it retroactive. That's the only thing I got. Everything else has been denied. So when you have this over your head, you get used to just being denied. So it's like to finally get a victory. It ain't really just sunk in. I always had it back in my mind, I'm not going back, but it's always that thought. So I'm excited. My family's excited. It's sinking in. It's just some mixed emotions, guys. But I want to thank FAMM just for just allowing me to interview, just tell my story. First, they didn't want me to people didn't want me to tell my story. Why are you speaking out? You're gonna bring attention to yourself. And I was like, hey, well, listen. If I don't say nothing, I go back to prison. I'll be sitting in prison like, dang, I should have said something. So if I do go back, at least I know I didn't go out without a fight. So I'm thankful to FAMM. I'm glad to be home. It's my first Christmas with my mom. Last Christmas, I wasn't with my mom. So I was in Dallas, Texas. So it's just, Christmas came early for me, y'all. So it's awesome.
Well, that's awesome. And I do think telling your story made all the difference. I mean, I think anyone meeting the three of you through Zoom or through interviews, however they did it, realized that it would be a travesty to send you back to prison for any amount of time, let alone for years. And so, this was an important fight. And I'll just say, for those who haven't been following it as closely, this has taken everything. This has taken a year of every tactic in the book, of running ads on the radio, ads in the newspaper, events, in
Dressing like a turkey.
Dressing like a turkey. I mean, I think we've proven we would do anything for this cause. And maybe they just wanted to get rid of us. I don't know. But, a lot of organizations involved. Grateful to Justice Action Network, Color Change, ACLU, a whole bunch of groups that really supported this effort. And it's just something I think it's still sinking in for me, because I feel like this has been a piece of my life now for 11 months. And I just thought, we can't lose this. There's no way we can lose. And so have you guys got the chance to talk to any of the other folks who are out? And what are people thinking? Are people skeptical? Or are they excited? Or are they numb? What are people saying?
They're excited. They're happy. I already have my phone, I'm sure much like yours, has been blowing up with emails and text messages and phone calls, and people who are just grateful not to have that worry through this holiday season. I have some wonderful friends as a function of all of this. And Kevin, I want you to know that while we won this battle, this milestone, there's still more to go. And you have us for the long haul. We don't end with this. We're going to continue to be by your side with FAMM and all of the other organizations that want to work with us to ensure that we make many more changes to this system as a whole.
Yeah, no, I wanted to say that. I have felt so grateful to meet you all on this journey, and then to see FAMM, running social media campaigns on the Equal Act, on the crack powder disparity or Second Chance campaign, and to see everyone who came to us through this campaign joining those, because all of you who have been incarcerated know how important these other fights are. And so it's really been great for you all to participate and give your time to those things, while, people who weren't in your shoes were pulling for you all and realizing this was something that had to get done. And we were saying from the beginning, if the Biden administration didn't do this, I was going to be very worried about what else we were going to be able to get done, right? Because you were the lowest of low-hanging fruit. You all been screened for home confinement by Bill Barr, who was really not criminal justice reform friend. And then not only that, but after he took that chance, you prove him right by being home for a year and a half and following the rules and doing the right thing and working and paying taxes and reuniting with your families. So I feel like there was no risk to the administration, yet here this was this incredible fight. Wendy, I mean, why were you so confident we were going to win this?
I just refuse to believe that somebody who was campaigning and, doing a platform politically and stuff of being progressive and helpful and things like that would want to, cause drama unnecessarily to families again, for one thing. And, if people are actually out and doing the right thing, like my parents are Trumpers, okay? And even my parents are sold on this now, they're like, hey, if you're home, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, great. That's fantastic. That's how it should work, So I was just like, no, they're going to come up with it eventually, because it would just be, it's like Merrick Garland said in the Judiciary Committee meeting last month. He said that would be a terrible thing to send these people back. Especially the second that he said that, I knew that they were at some point they were going to do something to make it work. And I just had to believe, because, the whole time when I found out, that there was a risk of the going back thing, that was when I started working really hard about it and just going as hard as I could about it, because, well, first of all, I didn't want to go back, obviously, but I decided that if I did go back, my 10-year-old was damn well going to know that mommy did everything that she could to not have that happen. And he knows. But I'm not done now. It's like I said to Udi from the ACLU today, I said, I'm looking so forward to working with you about something else now. And I am, I'm tired of this. I want to work on other things and help other people. I'm so glad that we can now.
Yeah, I kept thinking, I mean, there was a part of me that thought, oh, there's no way they're going to do this. And the thing I thought that people didn't understand is, I would try to convey this, that waiting is the hardest part. And so they kept saying, the pandemic, it's going on, so we don't have to make a decision. And I thought, you do not know how hard that is to wait and not know your fate. I mean, knowing your fate is just a little bit easier. And that period from the time where I got sentenced to the time I reported to prison, I was glad for those days, but every day was so heavy. We would cry ourselves to sleep every night. And my kids were, so sad. And I thought, I cannot believe they're going to make these families go through that a second time for no reason, because it is so traumatic. I mean, you'd only want to do that once. I don't know. Kendrick, where were you on this scale of optimistic versus pessimistic? I mean,
man, I've been dealing with the BOP for a long time. So, you kind of hope for the best with the BOP, but you expect the worst. So that's where I was. And I was hoping for the best. I was hoping that, man, somehow, maybe I wasn't as optimistic as Wendy, but I was just hoping. But if they did send us back, that'd be, in my mind, that's just typical BOP. That's what they do. But Kevin, it was, I had some good days and I had some bad days. Some days it weighs on you, and then you gotta just pull yourself up by your bootstraps and be like, you know what, you faced it before, you can face it again.
Well, man, you threw yourself into work in a way that seemed to really help you, because you've been so productive. I mean,
it was just it's really more my family, really, just more how it affect them.
Well, tell people what you're even doing for your job. For people who haven't followed you, tell people what you're up to.
Oh man, I'm working for a large beverage distributor, soft drinks. I don't want to mention the name because I don't want to mention the name.
You don't have to mention the name, but it's not this one, is it?
No, it's not that one. It's not that one. I don't want to mention the name, Kevin, because I've been doing my documentaries, I've been doing interviews and different things like that. And one of the people that came out to interview me, they wanted to follow me to work. So, off the record, they say, hey man, we applaud what you're doing, man. We support what you're doing, but just kind of keep that personal. So, I was like, okay, that's fine. I mean, I can't, but I see different little advertisements how they give people second chances. So anyway, that's a long other story. So I don't really like to mention them, but I just went to work every day. Got my CDL. I've been working, just showing people it's possible. I like to tell my story to people, because people, all while I was in prison, I used to hear it's hard out here. It's hard out here. It's hard out here. Guys were coming back. It's hard out there. And I'm like, wait a minute, man. It can't be that hard. It can't be. I can't get out one time. So I just knew, man, when they gave me that chance to go home on the CARES Act, this is my one chance. I can't be like, I've seen too many come back. I can't be in that number. So I just came out, immersed myself. I found grants, I found programs, and I knew other people who were incarcerated. We got to work together like we're doing now. We got to help each other. If I see you come home and I've been here, hey man, look, go talk to such and such. Hey, go apply for this. I got to help you, and you have to want it. That's another thing. You have to want it. There's a lot of help out here, but people not wanting it. So that's just where I've been at, Kevin. Just staying busy.
In addition to you, I'd say, I think another thing that helped our argument throughout this has been the low rate of reoffending. I mean, not that many people have been sent back. Some people have been sent back for really stupid things. Not their stupid things, BOP stupid rules, or the halfway houses rules, or personality conflicts or things. But overall, there's been very few, and the BOP and the Justice Department have admitted it. And that's been great for us, right? I mean, if those of us who are arguing there are too many people in prison sent there for too long, what a better thing than a natural experiment that lets thousands out early and shows that they can live in the community and they didn't need to be there. And so you all have, I think we need to get a study done that will show how successful you all were, and that will boost our efforts to reduce incarceration just generally. Let me ask you though, especially you, Kendrick, I mean, is clemency something that's still important to you to put this behind you and get this over with?
Man, I would love to get clemency, Kevin. Right now, just be on supervised release. Right now, I I'm blessed to be under halfway house. It's not those horror story halfway houses. You know, I'm the kind of person, if my monitor can vibrate right now, I'll call them before they call me. So, and they kind of like, once they know that, they know you're not trying to do anything, so they kind of like let up, because it's more people not trying to do the right thing than it is trying to do the right thing. So once they see you trying to do the right thing, but yeah, clemency is very important. I would love to, get clemency, and I even envision clemency one day, and just talking to my probation officer or the judge, like, hey, listen, I've been out X amount of years or X amount of days already. I'm looking at, like, if my sentence were commuted, I would still have a 5-year supervised release to serve. So I would ask him, hey, could you apply this year to my supervised release, or could you just let me do another year, then bring me back up? And if I'm doing well, could you just let me go? So that's what I envision.
I can't imagine anyone who knows what you've been up to would think you need another day in prison. I just can't even imagine it. So we got to keep pushing on that. But at least I think we got little breathing room, and you got to just keep being good and following the rules. And it's not always easy. Wendy, you have a relative. I mean, some people have some horrible stories about being on home confinement because of the monitoring. And what is your situation like? And what have you heard from others about? I know everyone would rather be home than in prison. And the only people who don't say that are people who've never been in prison. Because on the worst day on home confinement, I'm on the couch with my kids watching TV and with my family. So that's better. But it's not that easy, and not for many years. So talk about that a little bit.
Okay, so first of all, I'm in a really lucky situation because I was a relocation. I ended up being monitored by the U.S. probation offices instead of a halfway house. And there's just kind of a little bit of a different attitude. And I'm not blaming necessarily the halfway houses, so please don't think of it like that. I'm not speaking ill of them. It's just that they come at it from different angles. And I get why they are the way they are, because they have to like impress the BOP and show them that they're on top of things, and USPO doesn't have anyone to impress but themselves, so it's just different constraints on them, right? So, I mean, I hand in a schedule like everybody else does, but like the people that I've talked to, they have to call in every time they leave their house. When I tried doing that with my PO, he was like, why are you calling me all the time? Stop that. And even now I know people who they've moved to the phone system, which everybody thinks sounds great because you don't have the ankle monitor on anymore, but they'll call you all the time. Like I was talking to a friend of mine earlier, and she said that they called her at 2 a.m. last night, and then they called her again at 4:30 in the morning. She has to go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning, and like that's very difficult for people, and just getting just really excessive supervision like that. And don't get me wrong, there are some people who absolutely need it. Some people do need some more structure in their lives, but for the people who don't, it just feels exhausting, and it's like these things are built in such a way where they're not only like making sure you're accountable, but it's almost like, you forget one little phone call and it trips something up and a whole string of wires go the wrong way.
Right. And you wonder if are they trying to help you, or are they trying to trap you? Right. Because some of this stuff does not feel like it's helping you get back on your feet. I want to ask you, Dawn, you've talked about FAMM, and I'm grateful to anyone who thinks that we've been helpful in this fight. I mean, there have been a lot of groups that have stepped up, but what's been amazing to me, and I want to get your perspective, we had law enforcement groups step up. We had private employers, businesses that employed all of you all who are on home confinement, who have no interest in politics or criminal justice, who wrote letters to the president saying, I gave this person a second chance. They're doing the right thing. You should give them a second chance too. Can you talk about just sort of the breadth of support? I mean, that's just not normal. And it may be a sign of how much progress we're making in criminal justice, and maybe a statement about you all, but what did you think? I mean, that had to be pretty awesome.
Oh, it was beyond awesome to see so many different organizations and employers and people come together all on this one topic of keeping us home. It spoke volumes to, first of all, the great work that's been done in getting the stories out for people to realize that you do deserve a second chance, and that there are many of us doing well, successful, etc., who in no way would it benefit anybody to send us back to prison. And then second of all, I think that we have more in common than we do in differences. And I think that this was an opportunity to show that. And so on the items that we could become collective about, that gives us a greater voice in changing them. And so, as you know, I've said to you many times that I hope this coalition will continue as we look at work in the future. We're not always going to agree, but I think we agree on more things than we disagree on. And with that fundamental change, we can be big and successful in this movement as a whole. I do believe that progressively, never before have you had this many people come together. I remember when Joshua did that tweet-a-thon, the number of organizations who reached out to say, how can we help you? I've never seen that before in my years of work as an advocate in government, in politics, etc. I've never seen so many different walks of life come together around one topic and one group of people. And to everybody's credit, you know, I said from the very beginning, while this will not affect me, it will affect many that I know. And to be able to call on anybody at the drop of a dime and say, this organization is working on this, and this is what I need you to do. And nobody asks any questions. They send you what they need. They get on Facebook Live. They chime into town halls. I mean, it's just a testament to everybody's ability to work together. Organizations that normally don't cross paths, like you said, it's been many. I think about, you know, Olive. I think about Color of Change. I think about ACLU. I think about Jan. I remember that first meeting that you invited me to when you were trying to explain to people why I was the only person at the table that didn't represent an organization. But I thank you for all of that, because not only did it show me what we're capable of together, but I actually, we incorporated Danbury 100 so that this work will continue beyond this topic, beyond this mission, as we move forward, because we realize that our voices are probably more powerful than anything else. And collectively, if we continue to operate together and with all of you, we will be more than successful in this process at changing this justice system as a whole. So I thank you for being willing. I thank you for the partnerships of all of the organizations, the employers. I'm thankful for the individuals that I've never even got a chance to meet. I have people in my Rolodex. I don't know them personally, but they've been a person I've been able to call on and ask a question, or, you know, an opinion if something is needed or somebody needs help. And so just the magnitude of that has been a wonderful experience to show that there are still good people in this world who believe in causes and are willing to go that extra mile, even when they don't have to. And this is a testament to that.
Yeah, I definitely felt that. I mean, sometimes we deal with some ridiculous interest group politics, but on this issue, once FAMM started working on this, I had tons of groups reaching out to say, how can we help? And we're willing to pitch that in ways, you know, FAMM's not a big organization. So we had, you know, groups that had a lot more resources or different skill sets or different assets able to help out in ways that we couldn't have done it. And you just had to say, you know, no pride, right? I mean, just like whatever wins, we're just about winning. And
I remember some of those calls. You had your days when you were down and frustrated, and me vice versa. But we had the opportunity to pull each other up and remind each other. I remember the first time I had a bad day, you actually called me to say, didn't you just give me a lecture? I'm going to give you back that same lecture. But to be able to do that with a collaborative of people who you don't even know in person, but because they all believed in this mission and this cause and what was right, to have that network of support has really been tremendous. I know I tell people when I talk to them, you guys have no idea the number of people who are advancing this, who are helping, you know, who have been our voice. Like, we could never name all of them, even if we wanted to. And so I just thank everybody, all of the people on Twitter, Facebook, whatever other social media outlet that you've used, for lifting your voice, for participating. We thank you, thank you, thank you. And we look forward to continuing to work with you all as we get to the second step, because we still need clemency for these folks. But as we move forward, not just with seeking clemency, but whatever else we can do to change this system so that other people don't have this experience, this anxiety, the brokenness that comes from being incarcerated. And Kevin, you and I both know, when you come home and you have a huge support system, it's helpful. But there are so many people who don't come home to that. We've been blessed and fortunate not only to have our families and our friends, but to have each other, that network that we created in this movement. And so I just hope that it continues to benefit others for a long time to come.
Well said. I want to thank you all again for being willing to go public, because it's harder to go public with like the worst thing you ever did. And so it's not, you knew it was a good cause, and I'm glad you did it. But, you have to talk about your crime. You have to have that splashed in the news and be reminded of why you went to prison, how long it was, and all that sort of stuff. And so to relive your worst experience, but to do it in the cause of helping others, I think there's nothing better than that. And that's what FAMM tries to do. I mean, I think you are the most powerful advocates for the change we need. And so we were just grateful to you that you were willing to raise your voices. So with that, we're going to log off for now. I want to thank Kendrick, Wendy, and Dawn. And thanks everyone who watched. And we'll probably have more to say about this, but not every day. So that'll be nice. Thank you all.
Have a happy holiday, everybody. And
Merry
thank you.
Christmas.
Thank you.